This is the Valkyrie podcast with Leah and Steven. To find out more, go to valkyriefund.io. Hi, I'm Leah Wald. This is a Valkyrie, and we have Steven here. Hi, Steven.
Hey, Leah. Good evening.
Good morning. All right, this is going to be fun. Our kickoff episode, we're going to be talking about the traditional markets, Bitcoin markets, and having Steven do his analysis. So kicking it right off, I am going to give a small overview. So yesterday in the markets, the benchmarks went lower. Honestly, I think that that's dimming a little bit of the prospects for stimulus. Can't wait to hear Steven's opinions. Treasuries ticked a little bit lower. Again, S&P slid from record. NASDAQ 100 had actually one of the biggest slumps in a month. Dollar edged higher, gold retreated, and oil, crude fluctuated a little bit. I'm going to send it straight over to Steven. Steven, generally, what are your thoughts on what happened in the market yesterday? What was interesting to you?
Well, I think what we're having right now is inflation concerns, and the market really doesn't know where to gauge inflation. And that really has to do with two or three factors. The first factor is we all know that inflation is here. We could see that in the price of Bitcoin, for instance. Bitcoin rose from about 9,000 to almost 20,000 in a very short period of time. And it's mainly people, wanting to hedge against inflation. A lot of institutional money managers starting to step in, tech entrepreneurs, tech companies stepping in, putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets. It's a really interesting play. But it really is the overall concern of inflation that we're seeing. And one of the concerns with inflation is the way that it's measured. There's the government index, which is CPI. And then you have RPI, which is what's used in the UK. And a lot of people don't know this, but in the last couple of weeks, the UK government has decided to change the metrics of RPI to make it a little bit less prominent, meaning that they're trying to dampen what looks like inflation. So for instance, here in the U.S., energy hasn't really gone up too much. Oil prices, electric prices, but food prices has, and the cost to get that food has gone up, despite the fact that a lot of people have lost their jobs. So we have low wages and higher costs to buy things, and hard assets have also gone up. So maybe what I can do is give a demonstration here. What are you talking about hard assets? And I'm looking on my desk and I see this amazing baseball signed by my friend Tommy Lasorda, and this is considered sports memorabilia, collectibles. And these types of things typically do go up in value, along with things like art. And there's a really funny cartoon that appeared in Grant's Interest Rate Observer, where I'm gonna completely foul it up, but this was a cartoon that was in Grant's about 10 years ago when the Fed was printing money. And it said, I had a guy basically, knocking on a door and saying, we're here to buy baseball cards. I'm with the Fed. We're here to buy baseball cards. So they were basically buying up every asset that they can. Bonds in Japan, they started buying equities. Well, 10 years later, here we are again. The U.S., the Fed is buying bonds, and not just government bonds and treasuries. They started buying junk bonds, ETFs. Anything that they can to boost the market while putting dollars to work that are being printed to boost the economy. And that really only works for the stock market, and not everybody is participants in the stock market. It doesn't really help people that are running nail salons, running restaurants, running mom and pop stores that have been shut down and can't work. They don't really care how much the stock market is going up in value, because they're pulling money out of the stock market if they have any money into it just to survive. So it's not really something that helps the economy. So really inflation is driving these concerns. People don't know where to price things. we don't know what's going to happen with the Biden administration. We can only assume that asset prices will continue to go higher, that the stock market will continue to go higher, but at what cost and at what amount? With the Republican-led Senate, who's starting to put the brakes on things, it might be very difficult to continue the policies that Trump had implemented. The second thing to point out is Janet Yellen has been named the incoming Treasury Secretary of the United States by the Biden administration, and Yellen was a bit different than what we'd experienced with Bernanke, where Bernanke was releasing helicopter money. Janet Yellen really put the brakes on at the Fed. So I think what the markets are experiencing right now is that uncertainty of the policies that will come out of the Biden administration in the U.S., as well as the uncertainty of how Janet Yellen will work through a continued crisis.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Stephen. And switching us to crypto land for the end here, the big news of the day was this new Bitwise crypto index fund. What are your thoughts?
I think it's really interesting that an index fund got launched in that type of vehicle. I think it's more interesting in an ETF. The problem with an index fund in a grantor trust structure is the tax treatment. So grantor trusts are really designed for single assets like Bitcoin in the case of Grayscale, or in the case of currency shares, which is a publicly listed vehicle, a single currency. When you have more than one asset in a grantor trust, you have to take on a K1 type of tax structure, and nobody likes K1s. It means that from the perspective of an investor, you have to declare your gains and pay taxes on your gains without even taking redemptions. So it's not a great tax structure. Number two, the index itself, I don't think it's something that's all that thrilling. It's not something I would certainly advise people to buy. One of the biggest issues is the composition. I don't know. Leah, you're the crypto expert on the show. What do you think about Ripple? Do you think Ripple is a cryptocurrency?
Oof, putting me on the spot. I would say that they have quite a lot of difficulties in qualifying as that, given their minting structure and giving a whole lot of other drama and controversy around that. So my politically correct answer is, my real answer is no, I wouldn't. Yeah.
And then also addressing, one of the things about Bitcoin that makes it very attractive is its limited supply, and it's known supply. And what about Ripple? Does Ripple have a fixed supply?
No.
Yeah. So to me, that creates a problem within itself. So I think any index, even though Ripple is quite large by market cap, any index that holds Ripple is, for me, kind of a non-starter.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, we will follow that, and that's all she wrote for today. Stephen, thank you so much. Until next time.
Thank you, Leah.
Thanks for listening. Drop us a line and say hello on Twitter or LinkedIn. Have a great day. To find out more, go to valkyriefund.io.
Yeah.
Nerdy
we can talk about music.
We should definitely talk about music.
Who's better, the Stones or the Beatles? Beatles.
But the Stones were rock stars.
Who's better, the Stones or Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin. Who's better?
No, I still go with Zeppelin. Yeah.
Who's better, the Stones or the band? The band. Yes.
Yeah.
That was my favorite band in the world. I cried when Lee Von Helm passed away. I actually did cry. It was kind of sad.
Let's
All right.
let's get more in the weeds.
This is not financial or legal advice. Always do your own research.